Hi guys, welcome back to Barovia Made. Today we are going to be making a breakfast bar for a previous client. She wants some more products off of me. So this is what we've got so far. I was going to do this project off camera because I am currently working on my desk build. Some of that, well, the leftover wood from this table, we've cut it all up and we've put it together. I've planed it all together. I'm in the final glue up now. So all I have to do is do all the shaping. I have to make the brackets that fix onto the wall. So yeah. Right guys, so we got the table out of the clamps. It's all there. What we're going to work on now is the brackets that are going to go onto the wall. We're going to go for a bit of a crisscross. So we're just going to cut all these strips down into 45mm lengths. And yeah, we'll crack on. I'll put you on the tripod and we'll get on with it. Right, so after I cut these out, I cut some miters and then I took the offcuts of these miters and I glued them, well, just super glued them to the backside. So when I try and glue these miters together, I have a flat surface I can clamp to, which, you know, will pull these together and it'll make it good. I've already checked these are at a perfect 90 degrees, so that's good. A little bit worried about this glue. It was left outside, well, in my shed overnight in -5 degrees. So hopefully it still is good. All right. That's that one gluing up. I'll put that aside, wait for it to dry. I think I'll put it near the radiator so that glue heats up a bit quicker. It's very concerning, but I'm going to hope for the best. I'm going to start bringing my glue back inside of me because, well, look how thick it is when it comes out. It's not ideal. It's not what you want to see. Glue should be nice and liquidy. All right, put that one away. And we'll start working on the inside here. We are going to start making the inside of these. As you can see here, we've cut two bits on an angle, put them together. I've already made this one, and we're going to go cut this one now. So I need to set the blade to half the depth of this, find the right angle on the angle push rod thing, you know, the miter sled, and cut them out and then glue them together. This one I made a little mistake. I went a blade's width too far over, so I'm going to have to cut out a little shim and hammer that in once we glue these up. But before I glue these up, it's going to be a good idea to sand these first because it's going to be very hard to get a sander into these corners. So we'll go ahead and we'll start milling up these ones and we'll do the sanding in a bit. Right. We've got everything set up. We've got our miter sled at the right angle. We've got the blade at the right height. So what we're going to do now is just carefully line everything up. I've got some markings here. You won't be able to see on camera because I've done it with a razor blade to make sure they're dead on. And we're just going to line it up. Hopefully we'll line it up the best we can. And just start taking our cut. It's a lot easier to mark it up with the blade stopped. So do your first cut on this side, do another cut on this side, and then you can just hog out the rest of it. But it's best to do it because this is how I got the blade width the wrong way before because I was lining it up while the blade was spinning. So it was harder to see the actual blade. Blade's all lined up. And there's our slot. Let's quickly make sure that fits into it, just in case we have to take a little bit more off. Yeah, it's a tight fit, but she fits. Tight fit's better than nothing. There we go. Nice and tight. Oh, God, that hit my hand funny then. But yeah, that's the bracket. Well, not the bracket, it's going to be the inside of the bracket to give it some more strength. Hopefully these two are identical. Yep, they're right. So what we're going to do is take these apart now, sand the insides here so we don't have to do it after the glue up and everything, and then glue them together. Once they're all glued up together, we're going to have to cut these to the right size to fit into here. These are sort of going to go like this along there. A little bit interesting. So yeah, I mean, you can't really even see that properly. I'm gonna lift it up for you. It's going to be like this. So we'll see how that looks. Hopefully it looks nice. I ran the design past the customer. She liked it. But obviously things can look different in real life than they do on paper. So I think these will look nice. But obviously I'm not the judge. So let's go ahead. We'll get this sanded. I'll meet you when we are doing the glue up. Alright, so we got these all sanded up now, so that's going to make sanding a lot easier in those corners and stuff. Got some shims cut out as well to fit into there. So we're just going to glue it up. I don't think we'll need any clamps. I think it should be tight enough in there. So let's go ahead. We'll pour a bit of glue in it. I've broken my little squeezy bottle. So I'm going to have to do it like this. I need to go buy myself a new one. A good idea to do as well is, if you want to do this at home, is to put some masking tape all around these corners here, so the squeeze out of the glue doesn't ruin it. But I'm out of masking tape, and I want to get these glued up, and I'm not going to the shop. So I'm just going to get a wet rag and clean it up as best as I can. Right guys, we're back. Got a little bit carried away with making them and forgot to record the majority of it. But I cut everything out, I've glued it all in. I put some screws in there, and then I've put some filler in there to, you know, make sure those screw holes aren't visible and stuff. It's all going to get painted and stuff anyway. So yeah, but right now we're going to move on to the tabletop. We're going to square this all up, and we need to put a round on one of the corners because one of the customer wants the corner rounded. So we're just going to go ahead, square everything up right now. I'm going to use a router for it because I find it gives a nice perfect 90-degree cut, and my circular saw is useless. So yeah, I'll set you up, and we'll do this cut. Alright, it's a new day. We've got the brackets mostly done. They just need sanding now and applying. I've cut this one a little bit shorter because this corner here is going to be rounded. So when this sits here, it's not going to stick out because it'll be sat round about here. So it's not going to stick out or anything like that. I was going to cut this corner out with a router, but I don't want to put a nail into this table for me to be able to pivot. So what I've decided I'm going to do is just cut the corner off with a saw, come in here with a chisel, and then do the final shaping when I'm sanding using the belt sander. I think that's the cleanest way to get it without putting a hole into the table. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut this corner off, and then the next job for this table is sanding everything, because everything's all square now. Those are all finished. They just need sanding and then the holes drilling in them for attaching them to the wall. A little bit worried about how I'm going to actually attach these to the wall, because it's going to be pretty hard to get some screws and bolts and stuff in here and be able to tighten them with this all in the way. But we'll figure it out. If we have to drill a hole through here, Then we'll drill a hole through here, and then we'll provide the customer with some plugs so she can plug them after they're on the wall. So we'll crack on. We'll get this done. I'll cut this out by hand, and here's a sanding montage. Right, so off camera or on camera, I think I did a little time lapse towards the end, but we've got everything all shaped up. I used the router, did the corners and stuff, got everything sanded all the way up to 400 grit, and I wetted in between grits, so when I do this die, it's not going to lift the grain or anything. So yeah, we've made some fresh dye. We got to make sure that it's hot water, because the hotter the water, the darker the brown we get, because we're using clothing dye. What do you call it? Clothing dye was a suggestion I got off one of my old videos, and I've loved it ever since. I never thought about using clothing dye, but it's a lot cheaper than most stains. And in my experience, I've got a shelf full of different stains and colours and stuff up there. The clothing dye has been the best stuff. So if you're looking for a cheap finish that looks nice, clothing dye is the way to go. But yeah, anyway, I'll put you on a time lapse, and we'll get this table stained, and then we got to paint those legs, and hopefully tomorrow we can drop this off to the customer. So let's hurry up.